vote invalidates the presence of order number 13 on the order paper. So order number 13 is now struck out from the order paper. Honorable members, now it's time I'll give the House 30 minutes or so to pay tribute to one of the greatest sons of this country in the literary world, the late Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'O, whose books yours truly here has read each and every one of them. And I hope each one of you has done the same. Except those written in Kikuyu language. I've read all those written in English. I now invite the majority leader to lead the House, and I suggest members that we give the majority leader 5 minutes and the rest who will speak 2 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, thank you for this opportunity to pay tribute, as you say, to one of the greatest sons of our nation, and also a great son of my county, Kiambu, and notably also an old boy of the school. And when I speak about the school, it's a school that he attended in the year 1955 to about 1959 before he joined Makerere University. And Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Tiende Amolo, also understands the school I'm speaking about is not Miranda High School. It is the Alliance High School. And Honorable Speaker, I was saying before he went to Makerere University, where he started his writing career and did exemplary well, writing his first 2 novels in English. The first novel, Honorable Speaker, being The Weep Not Child, that he published in the year 1964. Honorable Speaker, also notable, this is around the time that we are becoming a republic. And he had graduated from university in 1963 when this country was gaining independence. And also, Honorable Speaker, it's notable to note that the Honorable Ngugi wa Thiong'O says in his writings and recalls how his village in Limuru in Kamiredo, where he was born, was raised down by the colonial masters. And probably this is what provoked him when he went to Alliance High School. And after his first semester or his first term in school, he went back home and found the entire village raised down to the ground. And I was saying probably this is what provoked him to even later in life, around 1967 to 1970, to drop the name James Ngugi and adopt his names as we know them today as Ngugi wa Thiong'O. Honorable Speaker, as we pay tribute to this great man, a writer who has not only taught literature and English language in many universities here in Africa, beginning with his alma mater, Makerere University, and also came back home to teach at the University of Nairobi before he was imprisoned. He's also taught great universities, Ivy League universities like Yale University, Honorable Speaker, in the US, where he has taught. Northwestern University also, he has been a guest lecturer there. And he has therefore contributed immensely, not just to the growth of literature, but also to the growth of African languages, Honorable Speaker. But this is not to say, Honorable Speaker, and I heard you say you have read all his novels, except those like Gahi Kadeda, I Marry When I Want, that he wrote in Kikuyu, or Shaitani Modhara Vaine, which says it's Devil on the Cross. But I think the Devil on the Cross was later translated into English. And therefore, you may have had the opportunity to read these novels, Honorable Speaker. But I'm saying this because Ngugi wa Thiong'O dropped his English name, adopted his Kikuyu names, dropped the name James for Ngugi wa Thiong'O, and also began to write in the Gikuyu language. Not because he was a tribalist, Honorable Speaker, because Ngugi wa Thiong'O was such a nationalist that when he was imprisoned here for a year, sent into detention by the past regimes, Honorable Speaker, in the 70s, he was imprisoned with many other political prisoners who were not necessarily of the Kikuyu descent. And he lived on to fight for justice, equality in the country of Kenya, irrespective of where you came from, Honorable Speaker. And the fact that he has not only taught students from across the world, from different backgrounds, Honorable Speaker, but even his associations, Honorable Speaker, in the literary world, speaks volumes of the man that Ngugi wa Thiong'o was, that he was never at any point in time in his life. He valued his ancestry, he valued his background as a Kikuyu from Limuru, but he never allowed that to be anything to use to lord over others, Honorable Speaker, or even to believe that there was one community that was greater than the other, Honorable Speaker. And he used the African languages, Honorable Speaker, and he has motivated and encouraged very many other African writers to write in their mother tongue, Honorable Speaker, and this is something that we pay great tribute to for him, not just his contributions in the academia, Honorable Speaker, but also as a political thinker and shaping the thinking of many African children, African students, and many other indigenous communities around the world as he taught in many universities around the world, Honorable Speaker. I therefore pay tribute to this great son of Kenya, an old boy of my school, the Alliance High School, and also a great son of the county of Kiambu and my neighboring constituency, Limuru, Honorable Speaker. And how I wish, Honorable Speaker, that Kameredo, because the Member of Parliament for Limuru is here, they would consider the cultural theater that was at Kameredo being further developed into a cultural center for Kiambu County, for our country.
Time up. Otienda Molo. Honorable members, the screen is full. I found it full, so it can't have been for this. So those who will speak, I'll just request a show of hands. When every time one member finishes, then you do so. Otienda Molo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I take this opportunity to eulogize the late Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Ngugi wa Thiong'o demonstrates defiance, first in terms of name. He had the courage to drop what was called his Christian name. Secondly, the idea of writing in vernacular, which at the time many people frowned upon. Mr. Speaker, Ngugi wa Thiong'o shaped the literal thinking of virtually every other person living right now, including those who are older than him, but definitely those who are younger than him. And many of us have become what we are because we started reading Ngugi wa Thiong'o from primary school. Ngugi, unfortunately, remains one of those whose intellect may not have been shared in his later life because of political intolerance. And there's a long list of his contemporaries who had to flee the country at the time, including the late Professor Ali Mazrui, including those who are living even now, like Professor Shadrach Guto in South Africa, and many others. I think in his life is a lesson that we must have some level of political tolerance, even of those with whom we do not agree. Because a lot of times, we then have them benefit others. These are giants who ended up benefit others in other countries. Mr. Speaker, even though Ngugi wa Thiong'o may not have won the Nobel Peace Prize, Ngugi wa Thiong'o remains a towering giant in East Africa, in Africa, and in the world, like no other. Mr. Speaker, I think that what we should do is to name something serious in this country in honor of Ngugi wa Thiong'o, not just to name everything after politicians. This is somebody who deserves to be remembered.
Omboko Milemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also take this time to eulogize Ngugi wa Thiong'o, who was a great writer who influenced many of the readers of the time and the children. And as young people would compete on how many books of Ngugi and other writers you would have read during that particular time. But I think what I find quite strong about Ngugi was that he had to compete with very good writers from West Africa, because in that particular time of the 80s and 70s, the West African writers were doing very well, the likes of Chinua Achebe, the likes of Lechi Amadi with The Concubine, and Aldo and others. But Ngugi came out very strongly from the East African region to also compete very competitively with the West African writers, and he was a celebrity for the East African people. And therefore, I think this was one of the greatest. But one other thing I find very strong about him was the fact that he wrote about class struggles at a time when nobody wanted to tolerate the politics of class struggle, which remains with us today, and partly that's why he was imprisoned and then fled the country to go out.
That is in the Petals of Blood.
Petals of Blood. Thank you. You are a master. Thank you. In the Petals of Blood, he tries to bring out that very confidently, and I think we should have more tolerance in our times to literal word and those who are writing. So when I see a place like the Shackles of Blood get trouble, I just blame those who are invading the space of academics and are not teachers. If we allow teachers to do these things without much of the competition and blocking, would really improve our literal world. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Rachel Nyamai.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to eulogize our son, the son of the world, a linguist, a creative, and a gift to this country. Honorable Speaker, I would like to go direct to the family that the Honorable Ngugi wa Thiong'o has left for us. I could not move my eyes from the screen, Honorable Speaker, watching the children of Ngugi wa Thiong'o. He has left us children who are grounded, children that he must have taught and given the right way to follow. Mr. Speaker, I think this is a lesson that we need to pick as a house, that we need to know that no matter how busy we are, no matter how many parts of the world we go to, at the end of the day, it's family. Honorable Speaker, about patriotism, Honorable Speaker, he traveled to so many parts of the world and he was not happy with the situation at home at times. But he remained patriotic to our country, making sure that he wrote books that showed love for this country. Honorable Speaker, I would like to also point out that we have so much to learn from him. And I would like to thank you very much for your communication or the statement you made on that day, that we did not see his face in all our dailies, Honorable Speaker. And we need to urge our media houses to be more patriotic and to love Kenyans like the late Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Honorable Speaker, I would like also to ask the House that the children that Ngugi wa Thiong'o has left for us has shown us that we need to rethink, Mr. Speaker, about family planning, Honorable Speaker. We needed human power together with the land we have. And this is a debate that I think we must have one day, to think of whether we should have been encouraged by our colonialists to have only 2 children.
Thank you, Morogara.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.